Happy Sunday, everybody. I'm here with Tesla Joy. This is the first person who's gotten me out of my house, socializing with people, exploring the city after getting my appendix out. So props to Joy. And we just recorded a really cool video for her YouTube channel. So when it comes out, definitely check it out. And now we're headed to a Tesla get-together. So we're gonna get together with different people from the DC area. Joy actually put it together even though she's just visiting from work. You're amazing, Joy.
No. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And I look forward to seeing all of you who are coming to dinner soon. And wait for the video.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, this is Joy. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I document my Tesla Model 3 owner experience to help new and future owners learn more about this car. If you enjoyed this video and find this helpful, don't forget to subscribe. Today, as you can see, I have a special guest here, Lexi Heft. If you don't know who she is very active, especially on Twitter under Lexi Heft, and she also has a YouTube channel under the same name that you can go check out. I am currently traveling in DC, and this is where Lexi is based out of. So I wanted to invite her onto this channel to talk about her Model 3 owner experience. And the biggest reason why is Lexi, just like I am, we both live in an urban area where we cannot charge our cars at home. So I am curious about her experience living with her Model 3 in the city for the last year or so, and also to share her experience with us. So welcome to Tesla Joy.
Thanks so much for having me, Joy.
Great. So how long have you had your car?
So I've had my Model 3 Luna for about 15 months now. I got her May 2018, and she has about 15,000 miles.
You live in an apartment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great. And I live in a condo. And your parking situation is, can you describe it a little bit?
So it's just outdoors. We have an uncovered parking spot that we have reserved for our car. And it's off street, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about someone knocking off your side view mirror or something like that. But it's uncovered, so I do have to worry about hailstorms sometimes. And also there's no charging, so not even a 110 outlet. It would have been amazing if there had even been just a 110 outlet to refill the battery a little bit overnight.
Oh yeah, I feel you because I am in the exact same situation. Now, before you got Luna, has it ever crossed your mind that how am I going to charge this car after I get it?
Yeah, my husband was a little concerned. He's a little more realistic and practical about the whole Tesla thing. I'm a lot more just like passionate, like I have to have this car. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for years and years. And so it wasn't going to stop me from getting the car because I really, really, really wanted the Model 3. It was the perfect car for me, smaller for the city. It is just a perfect city car. But, I was thinking, hopefully there won't be a reality check where it really is a burden or a chore to keep the vehicle charged. Luckily, that hasn't ended up being the case, which we can talk about.
Okay, please do. So where do you normally charge? Do you have a level 2 charger nearby that you can use, or do you mostly do supercharging? And if so, how frequently?
Well, I will mention I use the PlugShare app all the time, and there are a lot of level 2 chargers throughout the city at malls and grocery store parking lots and parking garages. And a Costco I go to has a free level 2 charger.
Wow.
And you get these VIP parking spots in the bottom of the garage, and it's usually a crazy Costco, so that's actually really in demand. But I actually don't rely on those miles very much. So mostly I gather all of the errands I need to do, and I wait until I have several I need to do. And then I go out into the suburbs, and I also have family out in the suburbs.
Okay.
So I go and visit them while I also tackle these errands. And then right on the way in and out of the city, right along the highway, which is what Tesla does with the superchargers, there's a supercharger, and it's just half a mile off the road. And either on the way in or out, I charge, and it's really fast.
Great. So how often do you charge?
I would say it averages every 1 or 2 weeks,
Okay.
but it depends how often I use the car. So if I need to go out of the city more often, then I'll be out at the supercharger more often, and so I can charge more often. And if I'm not using the car very often, like right now I'm recovering from getting my appendix out, so unfortunately I haven't been able to drive Luna in 9 days.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just killing me, but that also means that she's sitting there, she's holding her charge very well, not vampire drain problems, none of that. And I can just wait until I can use her again and then worry about charging again. So
Okay.
right now, not using her, but also not charging her.
Great. So you mentioned about vampire draining. We know that here in DC, winter can get really, really cold.
Yeah.
How is the draining during winter time?
I gotta say, last winter, so I've had her for one winter. We had some record lows. It was pretty cold. And I would say it was not a problem. So your energy efficiency does go down a little bit, your miles per gallon equivalent, but it was all very consistent how the mileage would change. You would get used to the pattern, and that's the important thing. You don't want unexpected range loss. And so you know, like, oh, it's gonna be 20% more energy to go the miles, or whatever works out for your driving style and the temperature outside. But there's no jumps in mileage loss, like going from having 100 miles in the battery to having 80 and you don't know where the 20 miles went. That never happened to me, so I could really trust the numbers, and it worked out fine.
Great. That is really good to know, because I know one of the biggest concerns in the EV community, not just Tesla, but people who are looking to getting an EV, for those who are living in harsher weather conditions, whether it's extreme cold or extreme heat, they're always worried about that additional loss of range in wintertime, or in Arizona, maybe in summertime in extreme heat as well. But you're not seeing that much.
Yeah, and I even took a long road trip in Florida in the summer and saw amazing energy efficiency. So extremely hot weather, at least up to 100 degrees is what I experienced. I didn't do like full-on Arizona summer. But even with those numbers in Florida, it wasn't an issue. So I was very impressed with when it's hot, how the energy efficiency goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So doesn't sound like you have much range anxiety.
No, I'm not really that kind of person. And when I used to own a gas car, I wouldn't tend to wait very long to fill up the tank. And so, I mean, part of it is personality, but also if you can just build up that experience and you see those numbers ticking down in a very predictable way, and you start with a big Tesla battery with a lot of miles, I think that makes all the difference.
That's great. So you mentioned that you went on a road trip. I think you went on quite a few road trips so far, right, in Luna?
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you share with us a little bit about your road trip experience, especially the one that went down to Florida?
Yeah. Yeah, I love driving Luna, especially with autopilot. I'm obsessed with autopilot. And I've done 2 round trips to Atlanta, which from DC is about 620 miles one way. But with autopilot and with supercharging being so fast, I could do that in just 1 day each way. And so that was really easy, because I think my record in the gas car had been like 450 miles in 1 day, and I was really at my limit by the end. So I know there are some people that can do a lot more than that, but my personal limit was 450, and then suddenly I was doing over 600 and feeling better at the end. So apples to apples comparison, the EV, the Tesla with autopilot was so much easier to drive.
Right.
And the charging was the perfect amount of break for me. You know, the car tended to always be ready before I was ready. And then the Florida trip was really fun. I went with my husband, and it was over a week-long trip. We took the Amtrak Auto Train, which I hadn't really heard of before.
I didn't know either.
It's only one route in the whole country can take cars.
Wow.
And as a passenger, you're only allowed to buy a ticket if you're also bringing your car. And there are these massive, like, double-decker cars that are behind the normal passenger cars, and it goes only between DC and Orlando.
Wow.
And so we took it one way from the suburbs of DC to the suburbs of Orlando, and then we started our trip there and went all the way to the bottom of Key West.
Amazing.
And then all the way up to DC. And so that was about 2,000 miles.
Oh my goodness.
And the Keys were just gorgeous.
Yes.
And there was one supercharger halfway along the Keys, so no range anxiety
Wow.
there at all. And there were, even on just these small keys, there were some level 2 chargers if you got into a problem. And then obviously there's always 110 outlets if you get into a real pickle. But I gotta say, in 15,000 miles of driving Luna with no at-home charging, I have never had to use an emergency backup situation. I feel like the battery numbers are so predictable and the superchargers are everywhere, at least here on the East Coast, I know the West Coast, that it's so easy to get to a supercharger.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Lexi, for coming onto my channel
That was so
and
fun.
chatting with me about your Model 3 owner experience and not having a home charger. And if you want to follow Lexi and connect with her, she also has a YouTube channel, Lexi Heft, as well as Twitter. I think you're more active on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I should strive to be as good as you on YouTube. You're so consistent and amazing.
Great. Well, thank you so much for watching. And again, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and give this a like. Ask us questions in the comments down below. And I'll see you next week. Bye.